The book of 4 Ezra, chapter 8, verse 1. And he, Yahuah, answered me, saying, Yahuah has made this world for many, but the world to come is only going to be for a few. I will tell you something similar, Ezra. As when a man you ask the earth, it shall say unto you that he gives much mold whereof earthen vessels are made, but little dust that goes comes of. Even so is the course of this present world. There be many created in it, but few shall be saved. So I answered and said, Swallow then down, O my soul, understanding and nourish wisdom. So you're saying, give me understanding, give me wisdom, so that I may be able to not only articulate what it is you want me to share with your people, Yahuah, but I also may let it germinate in my own heart, so that as others are redeemed, I don't fall myself. Verse 5. For you have agreed to give ear, and are willing to prophesy, for you have no longer space than only to live. Our life is consumed in his Torah. Yahuah, if you suffer not your servant, that we may pray before you, and you give us seed into our heart and culture to our understanding, that there may come fruit of it. Otherwise we're barren. How shall each man live that is corrupt? So that sin will die, right, brothers and sisters? Who bears the place of a man? Who's more important? For you are alone. We are all one workmanship of your hands, O Yahuah, like as you have said. For when the body is fashioned, now in the mother's womb, when she becomes impregnated, and you give it arms and legs and members, your creature is preserved in fire and water. In 9 months, your workmanship endures, your creature, which is created in her. For all of those who think that life, does not begin in conception, and you take that conversation up when Yahuah, because you will meet him and you will have a hell of a lot of explaining to do. Verse 9. But that which keeps is kept, both to be preserved. And when the time comes, the womb preserved delivers up the thing that grew in it. For you have commanded out of the parts of the body, that is to say, out of the breast, milk to be given the child, which is the fruit of a woman's breast. That thing which is fashioned may be nourished for a time, till you dispose it to your mercy. In other words, you release it from her body, and it becomes what it's going to become. You brought it up with your righteousness, or you should be bringing it up with your righteousness, is what he's saying to us. And it should be nourished, or we should nourish it in your Torah. So men, you have sons and daughters. How are they being brought up? How are they being nourished? Once they leave the weaning of their mother, what happens then? Do you leave them to the wolves? Do you leave them to the world? Do you leave them to the educational system? The religious institutions? The medical associations? And I call them associations because they're nothing but debt traps for Yasharel. Who do you render them to? The financial institutions who pretty much rob and ravish them economically for the rest of their lives? Who do you leave them to? To a government that is so corrupt that is equivalent to the mafia? To be governed by thieves and liars? Or do you bring them over to where they should have been in the beginning? As he said, I created man. I created the culture for the man. I wanted him nourished by his mother. I wanted her to be his first food. And then, when he's weaned, or she's weaned, I want you, dear man, and not without the help of dear woman or mother, to cultivate him, to train him up, what Proverbs 22:6 says, in the ways of Yahuah. And then that way, when he becomes an adult, a mature person, necessarily. Adulthood starts with us at 12 and 13 years old, brothers and sisters. Don't let anybody convince you these heathens have gotten us caught up in a system of ignorance. We're, a system of colonization. And our responsibility to our children is to decolonize them. I'll say it again. Our first responsibility to our children is push Yah's Torah, and in the process, decolonize them. Ezra said here a moment ago that the world was made for many. Well, Yahuah said it to Ezra. He said the world was made for many, but only a few that come into this world will be saved. And I will tell you that when you look at this world in the condition that it's in right now, brothers and sisters, then it should be a clear warning to you that something's just not right. Something is terribly wrong. And one can ignore it or deny it, or how you say, get super duper spiritual, and and God and Jesus this and God and Jesus that, or Yahuah and Yahashua that, all you want. You're not changing a thing. The worst lies that any man or woman can tell is the lie you tell yourself. And that is projecting upon the Creator who created you, as he said, and then brings you to this earth at his mercy. And when you try to project back upon him the evidence that he said he will reveal to this world, and you say it isn't there, then may Yahuah, that you are rebelling against, have mercy on your soul. That's for that little ignorant group over there. But for the rest of mankind, you and I, here on this earth, let it not be misunderstood. Colonization, which many of you call captivity. Enslavement, many of you call the prison industrial complex, has never been eliminated off this earth when it comes down to Israel, and to a lesser degree, to all of what one might call creation, the seed of others here on this earth. You look at these books, this one here, for example, if you're in Americas, I just said Americas, and I'm talking about the diaspora too, the islands. You're in America. These documents mean something to you. Because both of these documents establish one absolute fact, that you're either a prisoner here, still incarcerated, or you're still under colonization here, which again, the world conveniently call, or the book called captivity, but the world, kind of spins it around now. And the word, it would have been colonization. You look at America, how it was established. It became a colony, and then it went on to what? Colonize the people in that colony. It came as a colony, it began as a colony of Britain. And then once they pushed the British out, at least the military aspect of it, not the citizenship. Most Americans are Europeans. Talking about non-melanated. Melanated ones too, doesn't distinguish one to the other in that regard. But these so-called, independent thinking people, these people who walked around and said, it's either, freedom or death, turn right back around and perform right upon us what their ancestors had performed upon them. Colonized them. And they turn around and colonized us. And then they gave us an education system. And that's why our children shouldn't be in their school system. But they gave us an education system to keep us colonized. To keep us subservient, indentured servants, if not flat out slaves. If you follow this work, here you know already that this country in and of itself represents one of every 4 incarcerated individuals on this earth. And I suspect if you threw in Latin and South America, you're probably talking about 50, 60%. Maybe even as high as 70% of those incarcerated are enslaved. If you looked at a map of the early, I don't know, maybe 17th century, 18th century, and you looked at what parts of this earth that were colonized, you know what you'd probably see, brothers and sisters? Somewhere around about 90, 95%. When you include India, China, or India, Asia, or, yeah, well, all that is Asia. You know, Australia, Africa. I mean, the British, the same colonizers who are still colonizing this earth today, at least they see their seed is, they claim that they didn't have nothing to do with it, but their seed is right here still colonizing. When you're controlling the financial institution, you're controlling medical institution, you're controlling the governments, you're controlling the education system, and you're controlling the religious system, you are still doing what your ancestors did, so quit lying. Or better yet, there are righteous few that this book said, we don't believe your lies anymore. We know better. This channel is a know better channel to expose your hypocrisy. Because you claim you had nothing to do with slavery, but you don't identify the colonization that's going on wherever your people are in your rulership. And just like one of your fallen seed, Donald Trump, what is he doing now? Terrorizing countries. And what is he using? The same force his ancestors used to make the world bend the knee to his and his seed's will. But there is no colonization. You say you had nothing to do with the past. Yet you sit and represent most of you who voted. That's how he became president. At least looking at your numbers, maybe that's not how he became, because we don't want to mislead. Electoral votes played that role in it. But what about the popular vote? How many tens of millions of you who say you have nothing to do with slavery, you have no obligation, no accountability to it, but yet you voted for a colonizer's child? And what is he doing? The same thing his forefathers did, with the support of every single one of you who went to the polls and every single one of you who didn't go to the polls, but you still, wink, wink, I agree with Trump. You Democrats, you Christians. And so when the book says the world was made for many, but only a few will be saved, it's just saying the fact that most of our people, again, will never know the truth because you won't go to the Torah. You won't embrace Yahuah. You won't change. You won't even identify that you're colonized or you are a slave. Because you let your enemy identify to you what is slavery or what constitutes, better said, what slavery is. You let your enemies dictate that to you. Your enemies dictate to you when to celebrate. Your enemies dictate to you when you can go on break if you are working. What time you have to be at work if you're working. What time you can leave work if you're working. How much money you can earn if you're working. How much overtime you can get if you're working. Whether or not you can keep your job if they decide to, dismiss you if you're working. Hell, they can just flat out close the thing down and impoverish all of you and, how you say, do wicked, and no one is held accountable for it. Well, it's just business. But you're not colonized. This wicked system of heathens came up with laws, their laws they enforced, created, laws that were directly targeting our people, talking about Yahshua. In these Americas. I'm still talking about the Americas. They created laws that directly target us. I'll give you one called the vagrant law. Look it up, the vagrancy law. And what was the vagrancy law? When we as a people were supposed to have been freed, which we were not, here in America, to keep us on the plantations, they came up with laws saying if you did not have a job, it was a crime. And if you wanted to be employed, the only place was hiring was old masterdom. At least the only people who were hiring was masterdom. That's what they would have called them at that time. Master needed somebody back on the plantation. So they freed you, or freed our people, and then put laws in place that if our people didn't go back voluntarily now, as many of you who are colonized right now, if you're following or you're part of any of these worldly institutions, that's what it's talking about, including religion, following their gods, their holidays, their feast days, their festival days, it's talking about you. So if you didn't voluntarily go back to the plantation, then what they did, they put up a law that says if you did not have a job, it was a crime. And therefore, they could arrest you at harvest season planting time. And what would happen? You'd get shipped. Or better said, arrested in chains and delivered right back to the plantation. And if you're following this work, you know about the book that I have in my possession called Worse Than Slavery. Some of you probably have already gone in and looked into it and read upon it. Hallelujah. But it's no, work of art, so don't waste your time to go get it, because you don't have to worry about what's in the book because you're living it. Again, slavery by another name, colonization by another name, or captivity by another name called colonization. And yeah, there may be one or two that may be treated just a little bit better than the rest, but trust me, they're colonized too. You don't think Candace Owen is colonized? She answers to somebody. First of all, that white heathen that sleeps in her bed, who she brings demons on this earth through. But we can go beyond that. YouTube, monetization, commercialization. You'll notice every time she'll stop in the middle of her platform and hype up some, sponsorship. So she's colonized. And so is LeBron James and Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods. You name them, they're colonized. And unless your financial status is above theirs, you're colonized. Which we know it isn't. That's why I said before, the lies you tell yourself is the lies that will cause you to become a reprobate. The book calls you foolish, or a foolish people, eyes to see and ears to hear, but you won't look or listen. You think that this world is really under control, by opportunity. No, this world is controlled by opportunists. The lie you get told, well, you get an opportunity if you work hard and you do what is right and you follow the laws. What is called, or what is considered righteous when heathens are dictating the laws? When heathens are dictating what you learn in their churches. Heathens, again, are dictating what you learn from their institutions of learning. And when you turn to them for medical attention, you become a guinea pig. Something to experiment on. And when you stand up for your constitutional rights, and I say that with limitations, they'll put their police on you. They'll put their military on you. They'll put their medical science in addition with their military, and what they'll do is they'll come up and they'll create diseases specifically for you. And if all else fails, they'll attack you monetarily. Tag you as, a felon. Tag you as a terrorist. Tag you as an enemy of the state, unpatriotic. And you don't see the colonization in that. You don't see the enslavement in that. Well, I do. The book said, again, Ezra, look at it. I'll read it to you again. Ezra chapter 8, verse 3 said, the world was created. There will be many created. Matter of fact, let's go to verse 1. It said, chapter 8, verse 1, for Ezra. He said, he answered me saying, the Almighty has made this world for many, but the world to come is only going to be for a few. But he said, I'm going to give you an example. Ezra, something similar to, something that you can compare and contrast, as I just did with colonization and captivity and incarceration and enslavement. And making sure that everyone understands that most people on this earth falls under one of those two oppressions. by the institutions that I named already to make sure you follow orders. Like blind sheep led to the slaughter, you don't open your mouth. At least those who don't want to get their mouth shut, or better said, don't want to be the colonizer and the enslaver to punch you in it. Knock your teeth out. That's what they used to do to many of our brothers and sisters who would not eat the filth that they tried to feed them. But now we eat the filth voluntarily because we're colonized to eat it. Sugar frosted flakes sure taste good. And have a Coke and a smile till all your teeth riding out from the sugar that's in it. Old friend of mine taught me that years ago, big old pile of sugar, and I didn't take it well at the time, but they said, well, this is where you're on the way. If you want diabetes, keep doing what you're doing. I got it. I got the message. But how many of our people will get the message? When this book said only a few will be saved, what do you think that means? Have you given any time for reflection? I mean, how can you be a part of the small that's saved when you're a part of the system that oppresses? Or you deny that it oppresses? Or even worse, you deny that it even exists. Or even worse, that it's done away with already. It's already happened. But yet there's example after example after example that any person with understanding and wisdom, as Ezra said, give it to me, Yahuah. I'll get it from your Torah. It undergirds understanding. With all you're getting, get an understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing. And with all you're getting, get an understanding, as you will read that in the book of Proverbs 4, right? 7, there and about. That only comes through the Torah. That does not come through your education system, your government system, your financial institution, your military, and your church. They are colonizers. They are the weapons of those who control those institutions. All of the administrators, they are the weapons of those who put in place those institutions to control the many. That's better stated. And if you can't identify them, it's only because you're a part of them. If you walk with that, or you don't have a problem with that, it's just like Amos said, because you're in agreement with it. Would he not say to us, brothers and sisters, how can two walk together except they be in agreement? You can't be anti-government and support the government at the same time. You can't be anti-government but go against this Torah. I mean, anti-government and anti-Torah at the same time. Because this Torah is a government. It's a government of a very special people, an elite people. This is why the challenge came, to our brothers and sisters about, when Elijah came unto the people in 1 Kings 18, he said, Yahshua, how long will y'all be between two opinions? He said, you're going to have to make a decision. Either you're going to support the governments of the places you live, or you're going to support this Torah that comes from the creator of everything, regardless of where you live. So you're going to have to make a decision. And as the people do now, they did then. They didn't say a word. Kept their mouth shut. Pretending to be ignorant to what he had said. They knew what he was saying. But they wasn't going to piss off the king. Ahab was there. I'm sure Ahab's military was there. I'm sure his religious people, they were there, the prophets of Baal. So his religious institutions were there to watch him and keep him under check. Contact tracers. Y'all remember contact tracers? They're still here. How you think they're finding? How you think that ICE knows where to go to look for the immigrants? How do you think the ICE agency, again, know where to go and find the immigrants who are here illegally? Contact tracers. They've always been here since they were hired. Remember, they hired them and trained them in secret. Nobody knew who would it be. It could be your neighbor, could be your cousin, could be your husband, could be your daughters. It could be many of you come to this channel. You mockers, you scoffers, you spies, you fools. But he said the world was created for many, but only a few would be saved. And he said there would be a similitude. There would be things that would look right but are wrong. You know, Solomon told us about that in the book of Proverbs. What do you say, brothers and sisters? You know, there's a way that seems right to a man, but the end of that way will cause his self-destruction. Well, just obey the government. Follow the rules, follow the laws, and you won't have to worry about going to jail. But what if they start to, how you say, make addendums or create, you know, how you say, bylaws to entrap you? You know, like it's like the traffic, you know, police who will get down at the bottom of a hill, or better said, even at the top of a hill, out of sight, knowing that you got to accelerate to go up that hill. And as soon as you come over that hill, because you're accelerating, you're over the speed limit. And there the lights flash. The world calls it entrapment. And it specialized in entrapping Yahuah. You know, David told us in Psalms 83 that he said they were confederate around us. Confederate means they were plotting to attack the hidden ones. That's the very small righteous remnant. Because most of Israel is just going to, you know, again, like blind sheep led to the slaughter, they're just going to, acclimate, and they're just going to cooperate. How do you think so many of our people were celebrating Christmas a few days ago? And they will be celebrating the New Year in a couple of days ago. And they will go out and buy, and they will go out and do all the things that, you know, they were taught, passed down, you know, generation to generations, black-eyed peas, cabbage. Y'all know the drill. Israel knows the drill. Depending what culture and dietary laws you follow over there, not dietary laws of the book, your own country's dietary laws. Every holiday, there's a food that goes with it. Every celebration, there's a particular food goes with it. Doesn't matter where you are on this earth. And you can be in the far, backwoods of Australia, you know, and you're and the Aboriginal people back there. I guarantee you the same thing's going on there. You could be at far out there where Brother Davidson is in Papua New Guinea. I guarantee you, he'll tell you, with every celebration, every holiday, there is a feast that's attached to it. That is called foods offered to the gods. So when you go out and you buy your barbecue, you know, whatever, for 4th of July, that's what you're doing. Or you barbecuing your ribs or whatever it is you're eating. If it's associated with the holiday, then you are sacrificing foods to the gods. You're no different than Aaron's 2 sons who brought the strange fire into the tabernacle of Yahuah, and Yahuah killed them both for it. Strange fire. Food, water, similitude of. But you don't know these things because, of course, they're going to make sure they use, again, those institutions to keep you so consumed and occupied that you don't even have time to stop back and think about what you're doing. They don't leave you any time to think. They need the slaves to do the heavy lifting. They need their overseers to make sure the slaves don't forget how important it is to do their bidding. Monitoring, watching everything you do. That's their police. That's your managers, your supervisors, your clergy, your pastor. Oh yeah, him and her too. All working for the same wicked system of oppression for Yahuah. That's why he said that, you know, it was made for many, but most will be destroyed. Only a few. Again, as David said over in Psalms 83, but you hear it here. And what they're going to do is they're going to intentionally send wicked Israelites among us. Many will come to this message here and tell you not to share this message, tell you not to thumb up this message, definitely tell you don't support the work that's going on here. Because this is real important work. No, take your money and go give it to Walmart for New Year's, or for the, how you say, if you're in America, over where they said, take your money and go over to the fireworks stand. Buy some fireworks. Blow up some things. Spend your money there. Or whatever it is you're doing. Or even worse, not doing. See, the great thing about Yahuah is that he verified and said there will be a few that will be saved. Hallelujah. He said a few. Isaiah talked about it in Isaiah chapter 1. He said, what? A very small remnant who would not get caught up in vanity of feast days and festival days, blood sacrifices, So they wouldn't get caught up in any of that stuff. They would actually opt out. They would come clean out, like some of you have done. And when we say come clean out, I mean no makeup, no eyelashes, no feast days, no holidays, not walking with family members who participate in those things. I mean all the way out. All the way out. I mean all the way out means no remnant. I mean no sign of it. It's like a good, thorough, sanitation or when you cleaning an area that maybe, for example, you're going to put infant, a newborn infant, you got to make sure it's sanitized. You got to make sure there's nothing there because the baby is vulnerable because his immune system is still growing. He said that's the way we have to sanitize ourselves out of this system, brothers and sisters. And because of colonization, many of us don't even know we're colonized because of this institutional colonization. Because it just went from generation to generation to generation now to the point that you don't even know you're following spirits. Many of our people have no idea what the occult is. They think the occult is, going into some witch's coven and doing, and burning fire and chanting and making all these oaths and promises and whatever the hell they do over there, burning of chickens and chicken blood, which is all true. But it's not just that. It's not limited to that. And so many of our people are part of sorcery. You don't even know you're part of sorcery. But if you would ever take the moment and stop and ask yourself, what are you thinking about? What's important to you on a day-to-day basis? What controls your walk, your life, your path? It'll be clear to you whether or not you're in the occult or not. Because if it's a similitude of anything that they're doing, brothers and sisters, then you're in the occult. I'm talking about what the world is doing. And the world can be wherever you are. In this particular case, I just happen to reference America because that's where I live. But it doesn't matter, wherever you may be. If you over in Europe, where our brother Piani and sister Sharon Koch is, and hallelujah, they'll tell you there's systems of government over there just as wicked and wretched and manipulating and controlling as it is here in the Americas. Different place, but the same thing goes on. That's why he said the world was made for many. But again, only a very small righteous remnant that Isaiah talked about in Isaiah 1 says that, Yahuah would keep to himself his chosen, his elect. But he said a very few, small few. So Sister Maria, that means that your life would not be the similitude of the neighbors in any form or fashion. If you have family members who are unbelievers, your life will be in no way or shape similar to theirs in any form or fashion. Same thing, Brother Keith. There'll be no similitude, Brother Donnie Morton. There'll be no different. I mean, it's totally out of it. I'm done, finished with it. I don't do that no more. Don't even bother calling me. Don't text me. Don't email me. Don't come visit me. Don't tell me how worried you are for me, how concerned you are about me. Because when I was out there doing what you were doing, you didn't give a rat's ass about me. It's only when I decided to sanctify or sanitize myself with this Torah, with Yah's truth. Now all of a sudden, you looking for me. And that's what the sorcerers are trained to do. Look for you, contact tracers. Financial institutions, governments, all of them, right? All tied in together. A big cabal, big group. To keep the sheep blind. My arm is out like this. It's like a big, giant, filthy group hug. Bunch of polluted, abominable people hugging it out. All stinking of the traditions of this world. So when he said the world is made for many, but only a few will be saved, the question comes back is, what is the few doing that makes them the exception? And Ezra told it to us clearly, and you can read all through this book, but Ezra said it fine. He said what? Let's go over to verse, look what he said here in verse 12. So you brought it up with your righteousness, and you nurtured it in your Torah, and you reformed it with your judgment. You know what reform means? It's a change. It's a transformation. It's an identity of what is good and what is, what is in your best interest and what is not. But we're not going to relegate it down to good and evil, because that's based off of one's perspective. We're going to base it off of what the Torah says. That's how we're going to determine what is righteousness, Sister Mariska, Sister Miranda, and what is not. And if you are a part of this world system, then you will not be saved. As simple as that. And again, just because it seems right to you, don't make it right. And for you out there who, well, I'm trying, just give me, I'm trying. Well, you better try harder, because you're losing. You better be careful that your trying it's not an excuse to keep on doing what you're doing, because you really don't want to make that change. You don't want to pay the cost. You don't want to make the commitment. So you look for loopholes, and you figure you could do both at the same time. I believe in Jesus, but I believe in Yahuah too. Well, that's going to cause damnation to you, just so you know. So when somebody says, you got fools, and then I remember when I was coming up, they would say, that person is a damn fool. So you got fools who, who are just ignorant. And then you got damn fools that, even, the ignorant will appear smart before them. Don't be a damn fool. You can't serve two masters. You can't be between two opinions. There's only one Yahuwah sovereign. He's our Savior. He's our Redeemer. And there is no other. There's only one King of Kings, and his name is not Yahushua. If you are following this teaching, you already know. You can go right over to the book of Isaiah. Chapter 45 will tell you that. Chapter 44 will tell you that. Chapter 43 will tell you that. Goodness. But you'd rather run over to chapter 53, because that causes confusion. When truth be told, it really doesn't. You're just destroyed for a lack of knowledge. You're misunderstanding what you're reading. You don't understand the oneness of our Creator. Ezra said it. Look over here. I'll read it to you again. Look what he said here. Let's pick up at 5. He says what he says. And for you have agreed to give ear and willing to prophesy, for you have no longer space than only to live. Yahuwah, if you suffer not your servant, that we may pray before you, and give us seed unto our heart, and culture to our understanding, now we know that's the Torah, and that there may come fruit of it, means that you have to do more than talk about it. How shall each man live that is corrupt, who bears the place of this man, or this system of governments, these institutions? For you alone are the work of, for you are alone, and we are all one workmanship. One. But he's talking about everybody. But he's still saying one. So you read Isaiah 53, he's talking about everybody. He's talking about everybody on this earth. He's talking about all of Judah, Yahshua. I hope that helps you understand a little bit better. If you want to know more, join us on the Wednesday night Tanakh studies. This is what we teach. This is how we move. This is how we grow. This is why we are growing. Yeah, it's a small channel, few subscribers. No one's going to deny that. But hey, at the end of the day, he said a very small few. How about that? But it'll grow. Hallelujah. Because we're in the last days, and Yah is gathering us from the four corners of the earth. It's only a matter of time, Sister Angelina, where the changes that you anticipate and expect, they're going to come. This thing is about to end, is what I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters. This is over with. You just don't know it's over with. The world doesn't know it's over with. No more than they knew it was over with in the days of Noah. The end days. Just like they didn't know it in the land of Egypt. Right before the parting of the sea. Before the first Exodus. They didn't know anything was going on. As a matter of fact, it was held so close or so secret, if you can say it that way, that the Egyptians didn't even know that Yahuah had killed a bunch of wicked Israelites who rebuked and rebelled against Moses and Aaron's direction because they felt like they didn't have to listen to no man. The government, they had to listen to what the government say. They were worried about the government, Brother Willoughby. They were worried about what the government thought, what the government was going to do. What if you go to jail? What is this? What is that? No trust in Yahuah, but they trust in Jesus, which means they don't trust in nothing. And you can give them, they can give him any kind of name they want to give him. Call him Roy, Roy Rogers, Roy, you could Roy, anything. How to say what's the difference without a distinction? You can't trust Yahuah and then worry about what men gonna do to you. That is not the way that works. Our ancestors were living proof of all of the suffrage that one could possibly have to do if you're going to take a stand for this truth. And it also means decolonizing yourself. I was in a conversation yesterday with a very dear friend of mine. We were talking about that. Well, a very dear sister of Yashrael of mine. And we were in the conversation and we're talking about, how that these institutions that we think are normal are nothing but, institutions of the colonizers. And we went through everything: marriage, education, financial system, belief system. All of these systems that are in play today are the same system the colonizers put in play if you're in the Americas. And they can say whatever you want to say, brothers and sisters, but does America live by the Constitution that they created or not? Do they have a Bill of Rights or not? Do they have a Declaration of Independence or not? Just answer the question, please. We don't need to hear all the other stuff. Yes or no? And if they do, how old is it? Is it old enough that it could be said that the founders of the Constitution were colonizers? Yes or no? And so if they were colonizers, Brother Mendez, and they set up a constitution or a government of colonizers, if you're still under that government, Brother Mendez, you're still colonized. It's not that complicated, brothers and sisters. It really isn't. But when you want to not see it, then I guess you won't see it. But it doesn't mean that but that does not, validate that it doesn't exist. The book warns us of that. What did Jeremiah have to say about that? He said, they got eyes to see but won't see. Ears to hear, won't hear. He called them a foolish people, a foolish nation of people. And I long ago made my mind up I wasn't going to be a fool anymore. For every little time I was being a fool. Because I would opt in and out. I was always kind of self-driven, brothers and sisters. But that's a fact. Anybody knows me will tell you that. I didn't toe the line. I mean, I'm a responsible person. So you give me responsibility, and if I agree to that, I'm going to own it. But I was never one to just do it blindly. If I felt like, you told me that this is how you want the business ran, and then when I got in there and all of a sudden you told me, well, I know that's what we told you, but we want you to do something different, then I chose to opt out of that. I'm like, well, that ain't what you said. I'm only going to do what I agreed to do, and when you get tired, you can happily show me the door, and I will happily walk out of there. Because I'm not going to let you colonize me, and I'm damn sure not going to let you enslave me. See, my heart was always seeking something greater, like many of you. You knew that you were not here to be a part of this corruption. You knew it from a child on up. But somehow they kept pulling on you, right? They just seemed to not let you go. You were always the family focal point. Sister Jackson, everybody's all about you, and you know the family's going to be if you don't do this and that. Sister Mariska, you probably say the same thing. Sister Maria, I'm sure in your world past, you can say the same thing. And the same thing, Brother Tony, Brother Lance, I bet you guys can say the exact same thing as well. Brother Starks, I guarantee you we can say it. Because that's what the situation was, Brother Benjamin, same thing. And now that we've come out of it, this system is going to get very angry. And they're going to use whatever it can use and come up with to conspire against us. To shut us down, to quiet us down. That's why we need to try, and we need to be more bold. We need to be more aggressive, brothers and sisters. That's why we need to come together as one workmanship under Creator Yahuah. And to be told, I would feel pretty bad, if I did not know that Yahuah said that there will be some that would come out. See, a very small few of us, but that we would come out. That some of you would actually listen to these teachings. Some of you would actually engage and embrace in these lessons. And some of you would make plans to make sure that when Yahuah says, come from the four corners of the earth, you come or you follow his modern day Moses. The heathen will tell you there isn't one. I'm talking about Israelite heathens. The heathen of Israel will tell you they don't follow no man, yet they follow everything that man tells them to follow. Just look at their life. Don't listen to what they say. They're always going to tell you what they don't do. Just watch them. Over there getting EBT, but they don't care about the government. Over there, paying taxes, voluntarily, but they don't care, but they don't believe in the government. Attending their feast days and holidays, but they're not blind sheep, even though they know these things are an offense to the Creator. Creating, their own Torah. When Yah said that these things will be set aside for a temporary period, they want to come and tell you that they aren't set aside. But he said if you're being colonized, they call, the book said captivity, the modern day for captivity is colonized. Then what you do is you hide the truth by saying, oh no, you follow me? It's the law, it's the law, it's the law. Whose law? Man's law that you claim, you don't follow? You don't follow no man, right? So why would you worry about what their laws state if you don't follow them? I mean, let's get some clarity here. But he never told you to follow a man. He told us to follow what? His chosen men. He was very clear with that. It's like he's telling Ezra, Ezra, this is what I want you to go and say. Go prophesy. Go tell the people, Ezra. Like any, called chosen prophet of Yahuah, that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to say, no, we don't want to be colonized anymore. We're not going to let you colonize us on how we marry. You're not going to colonize us on how we get educated. You're not going to colonize us on how we take care of ourselves. You're not going to colonize us how we police ourselves. And you're not going to colonize us how we use our resources to build ourselves. We're going to make our own decisions. And our decisions are going to be by our laws, the laws of our Creator. And that's why he identified us, brothers, as a very small few on this earth. And so as it all starts to crumble all around them, brothers and sisters, just like it crumbled in Egypt, it crumbled in Babylon, it crumbled in Rome, it crumbled all over the earth in Noah's day, it's going to crumble again. It's crumbling already. It's going to be a big ash pile. This earth will become an ash pile. And what happens, what creates an ash pile turns bodies to ashes. You're cremated, your body turns to ashes. It's going to be a big, giant ash pile. This is that fire he's talking about, the fire in the water you heard me read about a moment ago. He said, just like in a mother's womb. So you're preserved. The creature was preserved for a period of time. I'm talking about mankind in this case, you know what I'm saying? Specifically, the time that we're in. So there's no fixing it. It's just just waiting it out. And the question you have to ask yourself, as you wait it out, what are you going to be doing? So are you going to wait it out, Sister Maria, and say, whatever happens? Or are you going to do like I know my dear sister does, putting the work in? Sister Amara, are you going to wait it out by just sitting around, or are you going to put the work in? Do whatever it is you got to do. All of us, same thing applies. What are you going to do? I know some of you say, well, I'm going to do this and that. Praise you, but just make sure you're doing what you said, though, because all the talking in the world ain't going to fix nothing. See, words are like chains on people's hearts. Because they think if you put the word out there and all you have to do is I just said it and that was enough. I just said it. And that's why people start to, they be there in the moment and then they start to drift away. Because they didn't mean it. They loved to hear the word. They loved the celebration of the word. But when it came down to the application of the word, Brother Franklin, they didn't want to have nothing to do with that, Brother Dennis Davis. They're like, no, well, I didn't think I had to do something. I just thought I had to believe. You mean something was required of me? You mean to tell me I have to opt out of the system? For real this time? I mean, I can't play house? You mean, Sister Linda, if I'm a righteous stranger, it means I got to actually be righteous. Yes to all those things. Absolutely yes. But most of the world is not going to do it. And so if you choose to do it, then you better get in your mind, only thing that matters is Yahuah. Family don't matter, friends don't matter, your job don't matter. The church doesn't matter. Government gonna do what it's gonna do, exploit and colonize is what they do. Getting rich at the expense of the poor. What is it saying? Rich men start wars, poor men fight them. Stop putting your money in bags with holes in it. Investing in things that Yahuah don't bless. That's what you're doing. That's what it means. Things that eventually over time are going to fall, again, to dust. What Jeremiah says, Isaiah talked about the cottage being overgrown, the women, being alone and destitute, besieged. You know what besieged means, right? Enemies coming in on them, and they're trapped. But that wasn't for the very small remnant now. So that was not for all the sisters. That was just for the sisters who are holding out for the system, voting for the system, in love with the system. And a part of being in love with the system, what did Willie teach this when he was talking about, the females? He said, break the process of what he called here the African woman. I crossed out African and put Israel because he was talking about it. He wasn't talking about no people from Zaire or someone over there, out of Somalia or someone, Nigerians. Well, all you running back to Africans, go back to African Israelites. Well, now you're going over there, and when that fire come raining down over there, you're going to wish you had listened to the prophet. I told you Yahuah didn't tell you to go there. But you let your heathen church and these heathen content creators tell you, to get on these slave ships, get on a Carnival cruise ship, and they're going to take you over there, and you're going to be over there in the wilderness nice and safe. Well, somebody forgot to tell Trump that. But did he not just throw a goddamn bomb over there in Nigeria with, the cooperation of the president of Nigeria? And all those nations there. I don't care if it's Abraham or whatever his name is. All of them devils are working. They're all Confederate. You think for 1 second he's walking around there with his military garb on, when they got him just sitting there like reading off or whatever. And you think, oh, look at him. He's so handsome. Damn, y'all stupid. If you believe that foolishness. That's a puppet. They're like Candace Owens, little wicked ass. She's a puppet. She's going to do the master's bid no matter what happens. And they're not the only ones. So you don't have to tell me nothing about either other two. Because, hell, most of them are some of you. You're just lower level ones, but you're doing the same thing. But those of us who are the righteous remnant, those of us who are free, no, you ain't breaking nothing. They're breaking the process of the African. I'll just read the first little paragraph. It said, Take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly, Candace. Test her in every way because she is the most important factor of good economics, Oprah. And if she shows any sign of resistance and submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to put a bullwhip on her ass and extract the last bit of resistance out of her. And you think these people love y'all because you pretty yourself up. Because you work in their corporations. You got a title. You got a position. You own a little something. But you don't own it. You might be in possession of it. But give it a while. One way or another, someone else will have it. But this is how the system works, brothers and sisters, to keep us ignorant by telling us don't trust those that Yahuah has put in front of us to lead us. Don't question the system. Don't question, their wicked hand. Don't mistrust their wickedness. Don't, entrust them. But when it comes down to your own people who have a vested interest in what happens to you, don't trust them. And the reason why we have a vested interest in what happened, because we are them. I'm Israel. I have nothing to gain by being anti my own brothers and sisters. I'm anti-rebellion. I'm anti the coordinating and the Barims. That's why I'm anti. I'm anti, those who would choose to go against Yahuah's Torah for the systems or for greed of possessions. Who will come willingly and lie for their masters to enrich themselves like the church and make Yah's sheep blind, dumb, and slaughtered with no pity for them whatsoever. They're not like David. David said when the bear grabbed one of his sheep, he beat that bear right back to where it came from and took the sheep out that bear's mouth. He said when a lion grabbed one of the sheep, he said, I beat that lion and took my sheep right back out of that lion's mouth. See, that's Israel. That's the righteous remnant of Israel. That's this Israelite, this one here, me. If Yah put you under my covering, under my leadership, you best believe I will fight to the death for you. But only if Yahuah push you there. You come there voluntarily talking about you're going to do your own thing. No, I'll get a big giant stick or whatever I can grab hold to and run you off. Get some rocks and throw them at your ass and run you off like a stray dog. Or a rabid dog. But then I'd have to get, that Glock. And if that don't work, there's some other stuff, I can assure you, you'll be ran off. See, we're at the end now, brothers and sisters. There's a gathering happening. Some people see it, most people don't see it. It's not for them to see. They only see what their eyes can see. They only hear what their ears can hear. In other words, they only see what they want to see, and they only hear what they want to hear. They are not interested necessarily in the truth unless that truth aligns itself with what they actually want to believe, Brother Sharif. Otherwise, they're not interested in it. What they do, they'll come, they'll watch, they'll stay a while, and then once they get offended, they run, they go, they leave. And you won't see them again. Every now and then they'll peep in, or you look around and see them other places, double-minded. Over here following, this dude over here talking about Yahuah, and over here following, Elder DFG talking about Yahuah. Double-minded. And what did the book say? Don't trust a double-minded man or woman. Say, we are not to trust you, so we don't trust you. So if you over here and your name is Petty is my name, and we see you over there, and then Petty my name, you're going to be isolated over here, so you might want to stay over there. Or make up your mind where you want to be and be there. Because we see you as a two-timer. If you know what a two-timer is, ask your mama. She'll tell you what a two-timer is. But brothers and sisters, like I said before, You know, he's about to grind this to powder. Grind it. You know what I'm saying? Like you're grinding, a flour or something to a fine grain. You great cooks out there. Some of our dear sisters, very, you guys are clean food creating, healthy, beautiful. Anybody around y'all gonna be healthy. Hallelujah. Don't forget the elder. Don't leave me out now. Feed me. But I'm just saying, my dear brothers and sisters, the time is up. Y'all scrutinizing everything. He's tearing down their sense of security. See, the colonizers and the enslavers have a debt to pay, and they don't want to pay the debt to their children. So their children deny that their parents even did it. And the way they deny it, they don't acknowledge that, they don't deny the history of it. They deny any accountability on their part, although they're still part of the systematic institutions that their parents put in place that benefits them and disadvantages everybody else. That's not them, depending on where you are. And it's not a white thing, brothers. It's not an Edomite thing. It's not a Canaanite thing. It's not a Hamite or a Cushite or a Jebite, or by that matter, an Israelite thing. It's a wicked beast. It's a force that's ever present, but not all easily identified. But it's there, hidden in plain sight. With all your society's Masons and and Elks and and the rest of those groups, your sorority groups, your Eastern Stars, all of that stuff, the Alphas, Omegas, whatever those so-called, boule idiots needed to join up to feel like they're a part of something. How sad. Your fraternal groups, all your fraternities. I don't give a shit if it's police fraternities, all of them, all, how you say it, part of the same organization that put their trust in men. And when Yahuah destroys the organizations, he's going to destroy them right along with it. Except they denounce it through repentance. Show contrition means follow this Torah, follow the direction. Submit means participate, bear fruit. And then and only then will you give them redemption. But they're not interested in that. That's why they're part of those organizations, most of them. That's why you say the world was what? Mere for many, but only what? A few of us are going to opt out of this. But it's coming. Some of I told you a while back, winter was coming. I've been talking about it for well over a year. Look at the situation. Look what's going on. Not that it matters, but because this man is a flat-out idiot. Some of you know who Charles Dahl is. Yesterday the last few days, like a lot of them, he's hustling his congregants or people who listen to his channel, Straightway. He's hustling them by trying to push them into buying silver because silver is going up. And he has a lot of silver bars. So the more people buy silver, that drives the price up, which enriches himself. But he makes it sound like, no, I'm just a prophet, man. I'm just a prophet. If you listen to me, you'd be rich. Well, that's to be determined. And I can assure you, he don't know what the hell. He might, theoretically, he might be right, but practicality and practice, that ain't going to happen. But anyway, he said this thing. This is the most important part of the point I was trying to get to. He told everybody yesterday, he said, if silver goes up to $1,200, I think it's an ounce, however they sell it. He said, I'm going to be rich and I'm going to be out of here and y'all going to be looking for me. Y'all going to be looking for my channel because I'm going to be gone. And then he caught himself. He's like, oh, that was a fraudulent slip. He's like, oh, no, but I mean, me and the righteous brother, we're going to be doing the work. We're going to be doing the work. Well, I thought that's what your channel was for, Dow, to do the work. No, what he really exposed is that he was in it for the money, brothers and sisters. And as soon as he gets rich enough, he going to outie, as the old saying goes, 5,000 G on your asses. He's going to be gone. And he's not the only one. The Paul Martins, the Geno Jennings, all the rest of them, trust it. They're not here for the identifying and the restoration of Yasharel. No, they're in here for the aggrandizement and the enrichment of them and their families and their associates. Period. Now, he said that. That's from his mouth. You can find it yesterday. He said it yesterday. Just go to his channel. Don't subscribe, unsubscribe, but go to his channel and hear him say it. Talking about silver and gold. And then he catches himself. It's the second one before the last one. He's all over the place. Guy is a scatterbrain. But he's all over the place. But he said it. If it hit $1,200, I'm out of here. Y'all going to be looking for me. Well, what about all these people who are following him? So he's telling you. He's leading you like a blind, dumb sheep to the slaughter. And the only thing you matter to him is a resource. So all you are to him, a means to an end. But again, if he would just want to be different, maybe we can corner him and report him for human trafficking and sex trafficking and, some of the other criminal things that I'm sure goes on over there. But he's the police, so don't forget that part. Elijah Muhammad was the police. Al Sharpton was the police, brothers and sisters. Before you go too far, some people tell you Jesse Jackson was the police. And they probably wouldn't be lying, so don't get caught up in that they can't perform two functions at one time. They can. But again, they're everywhere. And they're not here to work towards returning, Israel back to Yahuah. No, they're here just to pretend and give the image of it, a similitude, what Ezra called it. So this I'll say to my brothers and sisters as I bring this message to closure. The clock is ticking. The hourglass is draining. This system is going to fall. And it would be one thing, brothers and sisters, it was just economic. Then you might say, okay, what's the economic situation? Maybe the country will recover. This is not about economics. This is about judgment. This does not get better, Sister Martinez. This only gets progressively worse. There's no way out of this. This comes down to where you're going to be as it starts to really show its ugliness. So you're going to have to make a decision. All of us are going to have to make. I made mine already, so I think my fruit is what you see me doing. Those of you who are kind enough to help financially with this work, I'm sure you are doing it because you see my fruit. But I'll say this to the rest of all of us. It's time to have that look in the mirror that you hear Elder talk about all the time. You better go double check and see what you see in that mirror. Who do you see in that mirror? A reflection of who? Yourself or someone that's obedient to Yahuwah's Torah? One who's out of the government, who was consciously out of the colonization or colonizers' mentality. Who do you see? Who dictates to you? Is it the government? Is it the financial institution, your money? Is it the medical institutions? Is it, the educational institution who got you set up, got you into all of these student loans and now coming back and saying, if you don't pay them back, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. But you don't even have a job to pay them back. At least some of you won't. Or is it, the final one that makes the fist, religion. That's got you so enamored, cultivated, captured. How you say, what's the best word to use this? I guess, decapitated, no head. Because it's the mothership of the other four, religion. So are you so encaptured that you don't even know that you are colonized? Are you so encaptured that you don't even know you are a slave? They just took the chains off of you. They just told you you were free. But all you have to do is do what we tell you. I don't know what kind of goddamn freedom that is, but hey, it's men's way. So the day of reckoning is here, and it's only going to get worse. Go back and play some of these other videos. There's a lot of information there to remind you of who's actually in charge at the end of the day, and it ain't you. It's him, the creator, Yahuah. And he sent forth messengers to show you how much he loved you. But you have to love yourself enough to listen to those men. And to some degree, those women who love him with a perfect love, who are obedient unto him. And obedient to those that Yahuah told them to be under them as well. A daughter who takes a certain amount of pride in being covered. She knows that makes her special. With that said, again, I prophesy that to you. I'll go back, Ezra 81. He answered saying to me, O Yahuah, Almighty, who has made this world for many, but only the world to come for few. I mean, everybody's not going to get saved. That's what those liars said. The church better stop listening to them. I will tell you a similitude, Ezra, as it was when you asked the earth. It shall say to you that it gives much mold, ground, earth, dirt, whereof the earthen vessels are made, but little dust that gold comes of it. Even so is the course of this present world. There shall be many created. But hallelujah, praise Yahuah for the few of us that will be saved. And I pray and hope that's you. But that decision is your decision to make. We're here to help. Again, Wednesday night studies, 6 p.m. You can find that information on the About page. There are many lessons, over 1,000 lessons. Some of it, you can see my growth from lost in the sauce Christian ideology to now sovereignty, serving the one creator, Yahuah. But the information is there. The work is in play. So that being said, thank you again, those of you who are supporting this work with your hard-earned resource. I get it, but thank you anyway. You will bless that, okay? And for those of you who are loyal and you stay right in one place, you're not all over the place, Yahuah sees you and he'll bless you for that as well. But remember, at the end of the day, there's nothing more important than your soul. And this book tells us without question, Ezra, you read it for yourself. Don't take my word. Go to Ezekiel chapter 18, read verse 3 and 4. It tells you, if you choose to continue to do your way, you will not be a part of the very few that's going to be saved. He said the soul that sins is going to die. So, again, for my loyal sisters and brothers who love you, who with all your heart, all your mind, and all your strength, those of you who invest in your children, your household, praise Yahuah for you. But don't invest in them in the world's way, because now you're being a snare unto them. You're only setting them up like blind, but to get slaughtered, like sheep being led to the slaughter. So it only applies to you who are raising your family on the foundation of this Torah. And those of you who maybe you don't have a family to raise anymore, but you're developing and you're watching over your own soul using this Torah as a foundation and these teachings as a GPS to make sure if you're getting too close or going the wrong way, then Yahuah, like he told me in that dream, turn around, follow me. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Again, share the message, thumb it up, put the work in, keep standing where the real work is getting done. And when Yah destroys this thing, whether you be, a small righteous remnant of Yasharel or a small, righteous stranger, you'll be glad. And you will know this is the best decision you could have ever made. Hallelujah. And that will bring tears to your eyes. Maybe not today, but soon. Hallelujah. Praise Yahuah, Yahshua. Elder DFG. Shalom.